everyone is a developer. And I literally added this after hearing Jamie, a few talks before me, mention everyone is a designer. And on the same note, I think everyone can be a developer. And after watching this, hopefully within 10 minutes, tutorial on how to create an add-on from scratch and then submit it for private distribution, you'll be able to build and as such be able to call yourself a developer as well. Before we move on though, I just want to talk more about the pathway to becoming a developer. I know that there's so many people who build within the Adobe ecosystem, whether they're designers, creators, professionals. If they find there's a problem or there's something missing, a lot of the people I've met, and this might be yourself as well, they build something themselves. And I think that's probably where I come in. My role is a developer advocate. I advocate for you. I work probably more for you than for Adobe, although technically I do work for Adobe. So let me know if you have any questions. If you want to connect offline, I'm more than happy to talk more about your questions, your problems, and to see where you can go from there. So as I mentioned, we'll be going through building an add-on from scratch. And I'll use a template. It's not like very complex. I'll make some tweaks, and then I'll also submit it to the marketplace for private distribution. So then you can share a URL, and I'll explain all of this as I go. You can share a URL with someone else. If they have access to the URL, they can test your add-on and try it out as well. So let's get started. Before we do begin, you will have to have some familiarity with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For the sake of this tutorial, though, I'll walk you through all of this. But some other important things which you have to have is Node.js and NPM, these specific versions. So let's dive in. Hopefully you have all of these things already. I'm going to go to the first place, which is my CLI, and pull up our documentation. We have some really cool docs, which Holly on our team has put together. Let me just quickly, I have so many tabs with all this. So I'll show you how to get there from the landing page. We have a getting started section, and then under quick start, you'll see a very simple command, and I'll walk you through what this means in the next step. So I have my repo. It's called repos. I should probably make it more specific. To make a new directory, I'll type mkdir. I think that's it. Yeah. Demo dev live. Okay, and then I'll cd, which means change directory, into there. And then I'll just make sure it's empty. And now I'll paste the code I copied from our documentation into my terminal. Remember, you have to have npx and which one was the other one? Node and npm installed. So just make sure that those are installed. Otherwise, you might have some issues. So very basic on a high level. This is calling this package. This is the name of the package. And we have templates which you can use. This one is JavaScript with document Sandbox. I'll explain what that means in just a sec. But we make it a bit easy to get started. I say that assuming I think it's easy, but I think it is. But we have the steps which you just need to do in order to get your add-on running locally, so that you can try it out, make tests, and watch it update in real time. So the first command which I'll do is change my directory into the file which we just installed. And then to make sure it's there, I'll type ls, and then that shows me all the files, which is awesome. I want to open the package, open the file within my VS Code. There's a cool command code period, and then it opens up. So now I have it. It looks pretty standard. Let me go back to my terminal, and then I'll run the other two commands to make sure that it's set up properly. So npm, I'll just copy and paste these. npm run build. This is building the package into a dist file. It just added it there. And then now that it's built, I'll start to run the command to run start. So with this command, it's very big on my screen, but you'll see a URL, https localhost 5241. You might be wondering, what does that mean? How can I actually use that? So I'm going to go into Chrome now and open up Express. I just typed in new.express.adobe.com. And once you've logged in, on the top right, you'll want to click on your icon and then click settings, and then make sure that you have add-on development turned on. This is very important. If it's not turned on, you won't see the options which allow you to build add-ons appear. So now that that's turned on, I'll quickly get into a new canvas. You can just add /new, click on add-ons on the left, and then your add-ons, and you'll see this option down here on the bottom. Hopefully it's large enough. I'll nudge this down a bit. So with this add-on testing, turn this on. You'll see the URL. 99% of the time, it'll match the one that's in here. I think the only time I've not seen it match is when someone has a add-on already running on that port, so it jumps to a different one. So now that that's loaded, you'll see in development right here, my add-on is called Hello World. And this is the add-on right here. So what is this add-on? It's a very simple create rectangle. This uses the document APIs, which are pretty new. I would say they're less than a year, if not a year. No, less than a year, definitely. They were in beta for a long time, which is a bit confusing, but now they're available. So this allows you to add things to the document. This is adding a rectangle, but let's take a look at the code, and then we'll see if we can make some adjustments. So we have the index.html file, which is the thing we see right here. So it says create rectangle. Let's change this to create circle. And you'll notice that it updates right away. It has a hot reload. If I go into the debugger tool, it has hot reload. If it doesn't reload, you can always click refresh, and then it does it. It does like a hard reset. Let's go back into my code. So I want to make a circle instead of a rectangle, and I don't like the purple. Let's make it black. So you'll find that there's a Sandbox file, which has all of our code. And within here, this is where the rectangle is being called. So I'll walk through this line by line, but this function is what is being called whenever this button is being clicked. So right now, it's a rectangle. So I'll keep the rectangle in, and then we'll change things up after. Let's change this to a circle. So I'll just paste this, rename this to circle, circle, and then I definitely don't want to call that function. So if you type in editor and then period, all of these options appear. It's like a VS Code thing. So if you don't see this, you might have to have it set up. So let me know, and I'll help you. Create ellipse is what I want, and then it's a function, so just make sure that's properly set up. And I'm just going to be very lazy and copy and paste, and then just change things for circle. So change this to circle. I'll probably want it to be the same. Let's say 200. It'll probably look a bit weird and off, but it's just a demo. So let's change this one to the position of where it is on the page when you click create. So circle, I'll make this maybe 50, so it's a little bit nudged. And then the color, it's RGBA. So this, apparently, if you can read numbers and turn them into color, this is purple. I do know that, I think it's 1111 or something. That is the equivalent of black. So I'll change that to black right here. And then rectangle fill, this doesn't really do much with the shape, but the line below it, I definitely do want to change. So let's change this to circle fill. It's just, okay, circle fill. And then finally, and I think we're doing good on time. I'll try and speed things up a bit. This is where we append it to the canvas, and I'll change this to circle. Okay, and I saw the button just changed. And hopefully, if I've done this right, it should add a circle. And I probably didn't. Let me just see. Yes, I definitely spelled this wrong. C-I-R-C. I just copy and paste. Okay, which one did I spell? This one is wrong. And then there we go. Okay. So the color was actually white. I can probably just change that to 0. And then figure out why this didn't. rectangle fill, rectangle. Okay. Okay, well, it's not very dark. I was testing it before this and it came out pure black. I can't remember the exact number I did, but I added a circle to the document using the document APIs. So that's really simple. There's so much more that you can do beyond this. I want to highlight some of the other really cool add-ons which are available. If you click on the add-ons panel, they'll be on the left. And then we've mentioned this before today, but we also have the add-ons marketplace, which you can explore on a whole bigger page, the different types of add-ons as well. I am really close to being at time, but do I have 2 minutes, Ingo, just to show the distribution?
Sure, this is out of developing an add-on. Go ahead.
Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how can I share my add-on with my teammate, with a beta tester, without sharing it with the world? There is a way to do that. So if you click on in development add-ons just here, I'll switch accounts. I knew this was going to happen. I'm using my Adobe account, which doesn't work well when I'm doing demos, but I'll use a different one. Let's just go back. So we're going to add-ons, click on in development add-ons, create new, give it a name. This has to be unique, but you can always change this. Testing dev live. It doesn't have to have dashes, by the way. Okay, apparently someone else has taken that. Okay, that one can't be taken. Okay, create. And then you'll find a lot of awesome resources here. I want private link, so let's create private link. And it's going to ask us for a zip file. This sounds very confusing, but it's actually really simple. So I'll open up my my file with my add-on, and then I'll run npm run package. And what this does, it's added a zip file, just .zip. And with that zip file, I simply just have to drag and drop. Let me just open it up off screen. Everyone can see my stuff. So once I find that package, the zip file which I've added, I'm just going to drop into the link which shows up. Okay, so I found it. So dist.zip, this is the one I need. And I'll just write testing. And you can add an icon if you'd like, but if you're just testing this, don't worry about having to have that. This should take about 10 seconds at least. Good. Now click save once it's done, and then right away it'll just give you the add-on URL. So now I'll just paste that in. I'm using a different browser. Before I was using Chrome. This is Brave. So it's not persisting my session for developing. This is as if I'm a whole new user. So I'll see the add-on, click add, and then right down here, you'll see my add-on, and then let's see create circle. And just like that, I'm able to try this out. And this can work with anyone around the world. You don't have to have the same account. You don't have to have the same location or anything. I can send this to my friends in Germany, and they'll be able to access my add-on just like normal. So that was a very quick tutorial, how to build an add-on, how to distribute an add-on. If you have any questions, let me know. We also have monthly office hours for Adobe Express. We also have a Discord channel. We'll have a breakout session after this. I'll be in there, and we'll talk more if you have any questions, but I think I've gone over, so I'll hand it back to you, Ingo.